Welcome to the Black Knight Nation podcast. I'm Sal Interdonato. The Black Knight Nation podcast is sponsored by Higher Echelon. Higher Echelon is a world-class consulting firm that trains employees in sports psychology secrets that drastically improve work performance. Founder Joe Ross is retired Army. He was an Army fullback, and he also was an Army football assistant coach. And we thank Joe Ross for sponsoring this podcast. And we're happy to welcome a former Army hockey player who spent this year with the Rochester Americans his rookie season in the AHA, Dom Franco. Thanks a lot for joining us, Dom.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Just great to catch up with you. The season, we just talked about this before we went on. The season just ended on Sunday. You were talking about the games and the schedule and that stuff. Glad to have a little downtime here in the middle of May to relax a little bit, or
it's definitely nice, especially with all the COVID protocols, not being able to see family, or we were advised pretty heavily just to stay in the house and try to be as smart as you can throughout the year. So it's been nice to be able to come home and see the family, and now that things are starting to get a little more back to normal, I'll be able to meet up with some friends I haven't seen in a while. But a week or two off the ice would be nice, just to kind of reset before the summer training really kicks off.
Nice. I guess first start off with hockey players in general, right? When do you start picking up the sport, and when do you think it's going to become maybe your sport of choice? Because I know that it's definitely a different route for the really good players in the United States. It's not just club hockey. It's a lot more than club hockey. And you had an experience where you went to Canada and played some junior hockey before you even went to West Point, right? Walk us through that a little bit and what that's like.
Yeah, obviously hockey is probably the only sport where you see like the average college player is 20, 21 years old as a freshman. But it's kind of developed into junior hockey has kind of become the pathway for players who are looking to play college hockey. And so I did an extra year of high school as well, which like a lot of people do, at a prep school in New Hampshire. So that put me back 1 year. And then after I graduated from there, I was fortunate enough to get the chance to go out to British Columbia to play for a year, it was amazing. It was definitely cool moving all the way across the country and get to experience Canada, and then British Columbia. That whole area is just absolutely beautiful. It was a really nice place to play. And then 1 year there, and then it was right to West Point from there.
Growing up is just, when do you start playing hockey? When does it become? I mean, were you on the skates really early, or did you pick up the sport a little later? Or
I don't think it was. I think it was probably right about on par, maybe like 6 or around there. I know my neighbor growing up was the one who just kind of dragged me with his son, who's still a good friend of mine, to like just a little instructional thing, and that's where I kind of started to like hockey. And then from there, I played youth hockey in Allen, I think, up until high school, yeah. And then from there is kind of when I started bouncing around from New Hampshire to Canada to West Point, New York.
I was reading something. I was reading a quote from Brian Riley, Army's hockey coach, about you, and when he was saying, 6'5", he's a pretty hard to miss guy. Were you involved in any other sports, or was pretty much hockey it? Because somebody thinks like 6'5", maybe a basketball, you're dribbling a basketball somewhere, but was it pretty much steady hockey for you? Or
I was actually really into lacrosse growing up. I'd say up until maybe like junior year of high school, or right around high school time is where I kind of put my focus into hockey. But growing up, like hockey and lacrosse were neck and neck with each other. Like I love playing both sports. And then any athlete, once you get older, once you start to realize that you might have some potential in something, you obviously have to sacrifice a little bit. And for me, it was giving up lacrosse, but no, it's definitely loved it growing up.
There's some similarities with hockey and lacrosse, no doubt, right? I mean, do you think that anything from lacrosse that you were able to bring to the ice, or not? Anything that you learned in lacrosse, or no?
I think as a lot of hockey players play lacrosse, and I think a lot of it is just obviously the way the seasons line up, and then I wouldn't say there's too much carryover between the two sports. Obviously, lacrosse is pretty physical, but not as physical as hockey. But it's pretty technical and like footwork and foot speed, which is I think something that, especially in today's hockey game, you really need. Like the game has transformed so much into if you can't skate at an elite level, you're not going to make it, which is something that definitely wasn't a thing even maybe 5-6 years ago, in my opinion. But now it's a skating game, which I think when you're younger, if you can play sports, soccer, lacrosse, anything that's just foot speed, and you're taking hockey seriously, it's just another good thing to add to your skill set.
Do you think your time? I'm guessing your time in British Columbia playing juniors and also that extra prep school time got you prepared for West Point, and were you able to pretty much take the ice, almost feel like pretty comfortably take the ice, and you thought you would be able to make an impact pretty much your freshman year?
Yeah, obviously, going in my freshman year, they had just come off a really good year, and they had lost some pretty good pieces from their graduating class. So going in, obviously, we knew myself and all my classmates knew that we had a pretty good chance to come in and help the team win some games. And I actually was out of the lineup for the first game my freshman year, and then I want to say for about half the year, it was just obviously you're new to a team. I was young. I was probably a little underdeveloped, and I had to work for it. I mean, similar to the position I'm in now, my first year playing pro, it's a lot of time on the fourth line, a lot of heavy minutes. But no, I think it was great. I mean, in my first year, I kind of got to play every side of the puck, fourth line, top lines, got a little special teams time, but. No, I mean, West Point was just awesome. Our coaching staff there, they're so good at just skill development, and obviously the work ethic associated with the academy just kind of speaks for itself. And I give a lot of my development credit to all the assistant coaches and Coach Riley who've been there throughout my 4 years there. But yeah, I'd say that's where you learn a lot in juniors, but I think once you get to college or major junior, if you're taking that route in hockey, is kind of, I think, where you really separate yourself.
Yeah, and you were able, after that freshman year, you were able to definitely, find the groove scoring and being one of the leaders also on the team. I guess the last 3 years you led the Black Knights in scoring. I guess your senior year was a little bit different, right? With getting a chance to start to play and then dealing with COVID. How what was that like for you? You think after you have 2 solid seasons on the ice, get off to a good start senior year, and then it's done.
Yeah, it was definitely tough pill to swallow, having your senior year kind of canceled. With we were 1 day away from our first playoff series, and I think we all kind of knew it was coming in about the week leading up to it, but no, it was really unfortunate for myself and the guys who graduated with me. But, obviously with the whole COVID situation, there's more important things than playing hockey. So I think they made the right decision, and it's hard. But luckily for myself, I was able to keep playing. But I feel more for my teammates where they played their last game not knowing it 2 weeks before they found out, which is hard for them.
Yeah, no doubt. How does the opportunity with Rochester come about? How can you talk us through that?
Yeah,
how that happens for you? I know that like you said, your senior year, didn't end the way you wanted to, but then here's an opportunity to keep on playing. So
yeah, it was honestly, I think going into my senior year, like obviously like every hockey player's dream is to play pro hockey, but after going to West Point and going through there, like as I started to feel better on the ice and better, like it's in the back of my head, it was just always kind of like, I wonder if I'll get a chance here. And then fortunately, my senior year, the West Point athletic staff and a lot of people in Washington really put in a lot of work to allow us to play, which is something I'm really grateful for. I think it's a great thing for the military, and I think it just highlights all the great things that West Point produces. I mean, obviously they produce the best leaders in the world, but then you also get to see this side of it where you have you have the smartest and brightest kids coming in, and you're developing, I think, just a wide range. But which is great to see. We got a guy playing baseball, football, hockey, soccer. It's a great look for the academy, and I think it is for the Army. But yeah, once I got once we found out the season was over, it was pretty quick. I want to say it was about a week or 2 weeks later. I'd gotten some calls from our coaches and coaches from various teams, and there was a few teams that I'd been talking to. And when I met with or talked with the Rochester staff, I really liked just kind of their development philosophy. And obviously they had a big staff change shortly after I signed, but just the culture up there just seemed like a really good fit, which is why I chose to go there, and I'm really glad I did.
Yeah, you had like you said, you had some options, and then you choose to be, you choose Rochester, and that's a Buffalo Sabres, the top minor league affiliate for the Sabres. What was there any how did you prepare for that? Because I know you're not, like, your season ends in college, but how did you what are some of the things you did kind of to get ready for that next big step for you?
Yeah, that was definitely the hardest part, in my opinion, just with the season ending in March, and then we didn't start playing until February. So an 11-month turnover, that was really hard for me and I think a lot of guys who are kind of all in the same position, it's hard to maintain training habits and just kind of the mental grind of putting 5-6 hours of work in every day for 11 months. But for myself as a bigger guy, and I think it's pretty common across the board for guys my size, is my training focus in the gym is always just explosiveness and foot speed and things like that. I knew going in this year that, just given my first year and kind of my size, I think going in, I knew that was going to be more of a heavy role, whereas at Army, being one of the top scorers, you get a little more leash here and there. But yeah, it was just my training focus, honestly. And I think what helped me a lot early on when I was struggling there was just knowing that just relying on what I'm good at. And, in the off season, you really had to kind of build that self-trust, pretty much training by yourself for 11 months. So
were you able to get on the ice at all, or was there a place locally that you were able to get on the ice? Or
yeah, I was able to skate. I was pretty fortunate. I know a lot of guys weren't able to, but I was able to get on the ice pretty often, a couple of times a week. But most of my gym stuff, I pieced together a gym in the basement of my parents' house, and that kind of became my little hub for the summer. But yeah, it'll be really nice this summer, finally being able to, have a good group to train with and just kind of build that little extra energy on days where you're feeling it a little bit.
No doubt. What do you remember about your debut for the Americans? Is there anything that you remember about that? Because that's got to be a day that, you look forward to for a long time. So
yeah, it was a little funky, to be honest, because it was the first time I played a game without fans. I remember like hop on the ice for warm-ups, like jumping around, smiling, and I'm like, where's the energy here? But no, you get used to it pretty quick without the fans, believe it or not. But no, the first game, it was awesome. I mean, fortunate enough, I was able to make a pretty good play, and I want to say the first period to get my first point professionally, and I think I'll remember that feeling. It was just like you sit down on the bench and you take a deep breath, and you're like, well, I'm playing pro hockey, and I just made a play happen. And it was a cool moment for me, definitely.
No doubt. How about your first goal? What you have some you still have some good memories of that?
Yeah, that was it was awesome. I had been I want to say the 5 or 6 games before that, I'd been a little snake bitten, just posts, close calls, and then I was down in Utica, and it was a really, really good game, and I ended up netting the game winner I think pretty late in the third, and it was really cool. And I know all the guys jumping on me after the game. But we had a lot of rookies this year, which it was pretty special to see, when someone gets their first point, first goal, or first game, just how excited just the bench is and how exciting it is for whoever's involved.
What do you think was the difference I mean, obviously, between the college hockey and that the pro level, is there that much of a difference there? Is any other sport, they say the speed of the game is definitely changes. I mean, did you find it out pretty quickly that the speed of the game was a little different at the pro level? Or?
Yeah, I remember first day of training camp. I remember I got off the ice and I was just like, holy, like I was like, I looked awful out there. These guys, like, it's crazy. Like you touch the puck and you got a couple, like you have a split second before, like either someone's hitting you or they're just taking it from you. But yeah, it was well, you gotta it's like a weird concept when you think about it. Like you go to college, you have a good career, and then you go to the next level and it's like every team's best college player, every European team's best player, and every Canadian major junior league's best player. It's just the depth is definitely the biggest jump. And then once you get that kind of depth, guys are just like guys playing on the bottom line. They have the same capabilities, whether they play a little harder or a little more skilled, but it's just the depth and the lack of time and space, I think, is the biggest adjustment for guys coming out of college.
Yeah, and it seemed like once you got that first goal, I mean, everything kind of like settled in for you, right? I mean, you got on a little bit of roll finding the back of the net. I mean, was that just getting that first one in, through, or what do you think that was?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that. Obviously, once you get your first one, you throw the monkey off your back and you sail off into the sunset. But no, I think our coaching staff was really, really, really good with just communication with us. And I want to say it wasn't too long before that first goal, I got brought into the principal's office, as we say, and got the little kick in the butt. And, they were really good at they were just honest, and they were like, here's what you're doing well, and here's, if you want to play, this is what you got to do. And I kind of bought into like the identity that they kind of saw that would help me the most. And I think during that stretch where I was on the stat sheet a lot, I was playing more just because of how hard and committed I was playing to my identity and kind of the team's identity.
Yeah, and I guess when maybe it's almost like Sunday was the last game, but I mean, you seem to be in a pretty good groove. Did you wish it was you had a couple more games to play after that, or I mean, what were your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult just because there was no playoffs, so there was like our group did a really good job at kind of always just taking it one game at a time kind of approach, but it was definitely weird. It's just it's how mad can you get over a loss when you're not losing the playoff spot? But at first, that's what I kind of thought it would be like. But again, everyone who's an athlete's a competitor, so the second the puck drops, you're doing anything you can to win. But no, I mean, obviously, when the season comes to an end, it's a little sad. I mean, a lot of those guys I won't be able to play with again, or hopefully I'm able to, whether in Rochester, or maybe a couple of years down the road. But yeah, I think I would have liked to play a few more games, honestly. We had a few canceled because of COVID, and then after 11 months off, I'll take all I can get.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So right now, I guess you had signed a 1-year contract. So right now it's kind of the season has just ended. Teams are trying to get everything settled on their side of what they want to do in the future. Right now, it's just you're kind of waiting to see what the next step is for you, where the next, if it's back with Rochester, or if it may be somewhere else.
Yeah, so I just today actually just resubmitted my my packet to West Point, which will eventually make its way up to Washington, just to kind of check in and make sure that I'm doing the right things and promoting West Point and the military and being a good image for them after they give me this amazing chance to play. So that's kind of step one. And then once I get the go ahead from them to continue playing for another year, hopefully by then I'll have the contract figured out for next year. And then from there, it's once you get that going, just train and try to be in the best shape possible going into camp. Yeah,
no doubt. Growing up, when you're playing, going through juniors, do you have a favorite hockey player? Is there somebody that you kind of look up to? Is it somebody that maybe down the road you want to see in a game possibly, down the road that you want to share the ice with, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I think, oh God, if I was to play against one guy, I think it'd have to be Bergeron on the Bruins. I grew up a huge Bruins fan, and he's been there so long, and he's one of the best players in the world. He's just the most consistent, probably hockey player I've ever seen at all three zones of the ice. So yeah, I think if I had to pick one, I'd say maybe line up against him for a face-off. It'd be pretty cool. That'd be a special moment.
Yeah, awesome. So you grew up in Providence, right, or no?
Right around Providence, yeah. Everything around is basically touching each other. So.
And were you able to go to minor league hockey games when you were a kid, or did you do that?
Yeah,
or
yeah, I went to a few P. Bruins games, and then Providence College had a team, a good D1 team. We used to go there a lot, and then a few Bruins games here and there. But yeah, I think the PC Friar games, I think, were probably where I went most.
I gotcha. I wasn't sure, like, growing up. So you were a Bruins fan growing up,
yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then you come to West Point, right? And then you get the crazy with the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Devils, and that kind of stuff, right? And I don't know, but then I mean, West Point's roster is so national. I mean, you got guys from all over the place. So I bet you, did you find any Bruins fans on as teammates or no?
Yeah, we had a couple. We had a lot of guys from Mass. I'd say Mass is probably just the most consistent, where we get like at least two a year. But yeah, we did have a pretty wide spray. We had California, South Dakota, a bunch from Texas. Yeah. But I honestly don't even know if we had any Rangers fans. We didn't have many New York guys. We had a couple upstate guys that were diehard Sabres fans and wear their Bills jerseys every day of the rink. But yeah, it was. We went to one Rangers game when I was down there. It was a really fun time.
Nice. Didn't really ask you about maybe some of your favorite memories as an Army hockey player. Do any stick out? Do any moments stick out for you?
Yeah, there's a couple. I think the first one that really jumps out at me was we were out at Air Force, and I don't remember the stat, but it had been a while since we'd won out there, and even won against them, and I think we swept them that weekend. It was like the big Army Air Force weekend. It was really cool. And then we played one game at Fenway, which was a really cool experience. I had actually done it once before in high school, but at the college level, I thought it was definitely a little more cool atmosphere. Yeah, and then personally, we had a couple of really cool games. My senior year, I think, yeah, I had a nice shootout winner in front of like a sold out building, which was really cool. And then playoffs one year, a nice OT goal.
Nice.
Against Coach Riley's kids over at Mercyhurst.
Gotcha. When talk about Tate Rink as a venue and a place to play, when that place is packed, what is it like to be on that ice?
Oh, it's awesome. The fans there are just incredible. I actually still keep in touch with a few fans that kind of really touched me throughout the 4 years. But we get everything from obviously cadets coming to the game, all the faculty and staff throughout West Point, and then we have so much support from just the local area. It's when it's packed, it's definitely one of the cooler college rinks to play in. Obviously, the atmosphere kind of speaks for itself being on West Point campus. But yeah, the fans are, especially some of those like RMC Air Force games where everyone's jumping up and down. It's really fun.
So much history too with the program, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what made you coming out? What made you pick Army? Just what attracted you there?
Yeah, well, I was actually really fortunate. Where I went to high school was actually with Coach Riley's son, Brendan. And that's how I kind of found out about West Point. And to be honest, I knew nothing about West Point. I didn't even know it existed, really.
Yeah. And
then my senior year, I think I had emailed Coach Riley, and then he obviously had seen me play, and he expressed he'd like to have me come down for a visit. And I remember I called like my mom and dad, and I'm like, hey, I want to go check out this Army school. And they're like, whoa, you're not going to the Army. Like, no. And then I think the next day my dad was telling one of his friends who knew a guy who went to West Point. He's like, you should probably go check that school out. So the next day my dad's like, all right, let's go check it out. Yeah, so I went down there and I just kind of fell in love with it. I think it's for like a first impression, like West Point just blows you away. It doesn't matter who you are, or whether you're just visiting or you're there as a potential cadet. It's just a beautiful campus, all the history, and it's just, yeah, I remember when I was leaving, my parents and I were just like, what was all that? That was crazy. But
was there another school in the mix there, or was it pretty much after that? Did that seal the deal for West Point?
I had a few schools that were interested in me, but my biggest thing, I really didn't want to go out and play year juniors unless I had a commitment from the school, just because at the time, I maybe just glass half empty thinking, but no, I was fortunate enough to get the chance. I think it was around January time, my senior year. I got the call saying Army wanted to have me on the team, and I think I took it right on the spot and never looked back.
Wow. And now I guess, I guess tomorrow is graduation for, some of your former teammates. Yeah. That's a big day, right? And I mean, it was a little different last year, but that's quite an accomplishment, right, Dom, to get through 4 years of West Point and to be a high level athlete too at the academy. What was there a sense of accomplishment when you received, your diploma, so to speak, for your college degree from West Point?
Yeah, that was that little, like, the moment where everyone throws the hat in the air. I think that'll probably go down as one of the most memorable experiences of my life. It was just, you just feel all the weight of stress, exams, people yelling at you. It's a lot of emotions, or for me personally, it was right after graduation. But for these guys, it's awesome that their families are able to attend. It's really special, I think, seeing it for 3 years before myself. How nice it is just to share all the accomplishments with your family when you're in. So I'm really happy that West Point's able to bring in all the families to celebrate it, and I'm sure tomorrow's going to be a great day for them.
Nice. So what's up? What's in your immediate future? Is it just training? Or do you?
On real quick.
Yep.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Sure. What's in your immediate future? Is it just training? Are you doing anything like you say? Is there any thing with the Army that you're doing to promote, what your mission is right now?
It was kind of unfortunate, this being my first year, just with all the COVID protocols. We were really limited on kind of what we could do physically. So I'm really excited. Last year I was able to work with a couple of youth teams to help out with skill stuff, and I think over the summer, especially now that things are going to be back to normal, it'll be really nice for me to be able to get out and just endorse West Point and Army hockey, because obviously they've had a lot more success lately, but it's an unbelievable program, and if you can use hockey to get to the arguable best college in the world, it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. And Coach Riley, I mean, you talked about him early on. We had him on the podcast during the season, and just what he was dealing with the whole COVID protocols and stuff like that. I mean, they had for everything that they dealt with, they had a pretty successful season. Might not have ended the way they wanted it to, but I mean, what can you say about Coach Brian Riley and what he has done for you, and maybe some of the things that you do now in a practice or a game might remind you of West Point?
Yeah, he is one of the greatest coaches and people I've ever met. His ability, his just care for every one of his players, whether they played for 1 year, whether they were managers, or anyone who kind of crossed his path immediately kind of joined his family, which was, I think, what makes that atmosphere, locker room, team so special. It's his ability just to bring everyone together. And I know to this day I still talk to him if I ever needed anything, or someone who graduated 10 years ago ever need anything. he'd pick up right away, put down what he's doing, and help out, which speaks a lot about himself and his character.
I think they had a video of him telling the team that Trevin Kozlowski and Colin Bialik got All-American honors or first team, and just you could see the camaraderie in that locker room, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, holy, I mean, that's something special. That's not something that you just happens overnight. It's definitely created, and man, I bet you when you first come in there, it's there, and through the years, it just builds up for a player personally, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's especially just a lot of the environment too, like West Point and the Army. It's embrace the suck together, and like you see it when you go up to the rink. Some guys are having a bad day. Immediately, there's 3 guys throwing them around, cheering them up. It's really nice to just have that automatic support network. Going through West Point and all the struggles, and obviously you have your bad days, and some days you got more on your plate than you know what to deal with. So it's having that group and the culture that Coach Riley has built for. Geez, they've been there way too long.
Yeah, he's the Riley family, right? I mean, it's been nothing else at West Point hockey forever.
He understands it, the academy and the grind so well. It fits so perfectly with how he handles himself and how he handles coaching. So
just one last one. I guess we kind of talked about this a little bit, but how did you feel, just to sum it up, how did you feel about your rookie season with the Rochester Americans, and how much are you really looking forward to the future and building off that? Yeah, I thought I had a great first year. If you look at it holistically, obviously, I talked to my coach pretty early on. He's just like, Dom, I'll be honest, in training camp, we were like, I don't know if this guy's got it. But, at the end, playing so well and picking up pretty big minutes in games, it's a development-based league. And I think for myself, just the amount I improved and work ethic. And I think that's one of the biggest things that pro hockey transforms. It's no longer like you work. You have practice, and then if you're not doing an hour and extra stuff, whether that's stretching, on ice, workout, or something, you get left behind. Every year there's a new group of players, and every year guys are getting better. So it definitely takes a pretty elite level of commitment to extra work. But I think I put myself in a good position to keep building on that this summer, and hopefully next year hit the ice running. Awesome. This is the 40th episode of Black Knight Nation podcast, according to Apple podcast. So, Dom, you're on the 40th. I'm glad to be here. We're getting up there. You can follow us on this will be on Spotify, Amazon Music, all the podcast platforms, as well as YouTube. We have the Black Knight Nation YouTube channel that you could rewatch this on. We really appreciate a few minutes your time tonight, Dom. That really appreciate that, and all the best to you down the road with your future in hockey, and also down the road with your future in the military when that comes to that point. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was great to be on here, and congrats on the 40 episodes. Hopefully we'll do 40 more, and maybe we'll get you on again, Dom. Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to. Awesome. Have a good night, man. All right. Thank you. Bye.